This is Daniel Posney, and this is Shifting Perspectives. And this topic is about when there are blocked emotions or when someone doesn't feel. And I have to say that one of the most difficult sessions that I do are with people that just for some reason or another are not connected with their emotions. And it's not really the ones that have crazy emotions and are angry or sad or depressed or any of that, because I've felt all those too. It's the ones that have just no connection with their emotions. And there's several different reasons for this. And one of them could be trauma, that they've just kind of shut down their emotional body and they've learned how to cope with life. And I have to say that I have felt that in my childhood, where one of my parents was not really emotionally available. And some people might see that as start to judge that and start to say, they're being belligerent or they're being mean or something. But really what's happened is that they've had some kind of a trauma on the one end of it, some kind of trauma that has shut them down and caused them to feel so unsafe that they've kind of gone back into their shell. But this can also happen on a much lighter scale too. Like I experience this every once in a while too, when I get the perception that I'm not being heard or not being respected, or that I just got completely shut down with what I was trying to say. And then the sensitivity will come up and it'll just kind of retract back, go back into my little shell for a little bit. And I can really feel like that inner child inside of me just sort of going into a corner. And if I continue to do that, I'll just keep on losing my self-confidence, losing my my knowing of who I am and what's good for me, what's not good for me. And I'll just keep on retracting back into that. And if you can imagine that your emotional body is really connected with your physical body, that if you keep on retracting, and if you ever seen someone, I have, where they're kind of hunched over and they kind of move in the world like this, that's someone that's probably had some kind of trauma that caused them to feel like they need to start protecting their heart. And this is what happens to people when they need to protect their heart. Their shoulders come in and they're doing the best they can to protect themselves. So it's not that they've got an attitude or they're unsociable, although it does kind of lead to activities and behaviors that are not social. But it's not because they're wanting to. It's just that this is their protection mechanism, and it's what's worked for them. So how does this show up? So sometimes when I get triggered like that, I'll get my feelings hurt, and then I'll shut down, and then I'll go and do something by myself. And that's just my protection mechanism, so that I can have some space to myself and allow myself to feel more safe. And it's not that, so if someone triggers that in my adult life now, it's not entirely their doing, which causes my behavior. It's just like everything else. It's a trigger that hits something deep down inside of me. And it may be something that happened at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old that I was going to squash down. Maybe something was said, where a lot of adults would say, because I said so, or I'll give you something to cry about, or something like that. Not that I had a lot of that, but I can remember feelings like that where it wasn't really safe to have my own emotions. And I have to say that in my own childhood, it wasn't abusive, but there wasn't really an open conversation about emotions. I don't remember there being a lot of open conversation with my mom and my dad crying with us and having emotions with them. Especially after my dad died, we were all so busy, doing our thing and trying to just keep ourselves going, that there wasn't the real awareness to come together. Let's talk about what's going on lately. How do you feel about all this? So I kind of learned, I guess you'd say, that to kind of keep my emotions to myself and they don't need to be talked about. So that kind of thing I'll just carry that through in my adult life. And if I feel like it's not safe to have emotions, boom, go into what I know. So if that continues on as that kind of behavior, well, it's really hard to have a relationship or anything that's meaningful. And you start to not want to go to social activities. You start not wanting to be very creative, and your body starts taking hit with that. And some of the diseases and maladies are associated with that. Heart condition, cancer, what's another one? Arthritis. You think about the diseases that cause us to have a problem with our emotions and our feeling. And then arthritis is more of a like kind of a shrinking down kind of a thing. So to come out of that and to make sure that you pull out of that, the best thing that I found for myself and for other people that I work with is got to get out in nature. You got to get yourself out of the closeness of where you're at and get out into nature and start to recognize nature. One of the things I was just having a vision of someone just watching an ant and just watching what the ant does, you know, for a while, and just seeing how there's a little community going on there of that ant and the tall grass that the ant walks in, you know, something like that, where you're watching nature, watching something transpire, watching birds. You can get really lost in the goings on of nature, jump in some cold water, just kind of get reconnected again, get re-grounded again. Let's see, the other one is, if you're having a problem with really connecting with your emotions, one of the things could be that it hasn't really been safe to feel your own, or have your own thoughts and your own expressions noticed by people or understood or respected by other people. And what comes up sometimes is the lack of permission for anger, or that anger is such a terrible emotion that you cannot even go there. Like you just want to be a good person. So you shut down anything that looks like anger or sadness or any quote negative emotions. And I feel like there are some really healthy ways to express anger, and that anger can at least pull me out of depression and out of not feeling any emotion. So if I'm stuck in this moment of not feeling any emotions, whether it's, you know, an hour or 10 days or a year, there's a shutting down of myself, and I get more and more used to that. But one thing that can really bring me out of that is some form of healthy anger. And I know that's kind of a weird term of saying healthy anger, but there is some expression of your frustration. And it can be done in a way that doesn't hurt anybody, doesn't take anybody into the scene at all. You know, doing a big cannonball in a pool is a pretty good one for me. Swimming really hard in the surf and pushing myself through the surf was always a good thing when I lived in California. Going on a real big hike and really pushing through something and letting my own inner anger push me through that exercise. So I'm sure you could think of some ones that don't affect other people in a negative way, but express your frustration and use that to motivate yourself to do something that doesn't hurt you and doesn't hurt other people. So just letting that anger pull you out of anything other than the depression. So not that depression is something you need to avoid also. It has its purpose. But after a while, there needs to be some kind of a catalyst to pull you out of that into something else. So it really feels like anger is a much better feeling to a lot of people than victim consciousness. So if we're in this shutdown of emotions, that we have some kind of a traumatic thing happen to us, and then we go into some form of anger, that at least gets us kind of motivated to say, damn it, this is what I'm going to do. And if you could use that anger to say, this is how I'm going to love myself, you know, not this is how I'm going to protect myself with more walls and more boundaries and not do anything in the world. It's more of a, damn it, I've been kind of squashed down and I'm going to create something. Again, not something that hurts anyone, but something that expresses yourself and that shows that you have something to say. Um, the other thing is that when people get emotionally shut down, there might be some substances involved in that too. It might be the environment. It might be Wi-Fi. It might be some kind of electromagnetic signals that are around that are just affecting um, your emotions and your personality. It may be that you're smoking too much weed, or you're drinking too much, or that you're eating too much crap in your life. So all those things can be taken into account. But I guess the main question is, even though all those things may contribute to that, the real reason why you might be smoking too much, drinking too much, eating too much crap, and that probably all goes down to self-worth, which is all tied into the whole loop that we're talking about. Somebody made you feel that you weren't worthy, and that became a trigger. So that may all be tied in with that. So there's some work to be done about your egoic mind thinking that you're not worthy, and healing the original cause of that. Again, rarely anything is caused by this now moment or by this adult time. It's usually comes in from your childhood that had such an effect on you that you created some kind of coping mechanism, which is to just shut down. I remember I was working with a client who she was emotionally shut down, and she came from a childhood that had a lot of physical, emotional, and even sexual abuse. And she had a brother, and the brother, the way that he dealt with it, he went into drugs, so it was kind of more of a numbing on that way. But she went emotionally disconnected. And then she also had a sister, and the sister dealt with it by being bipolar. So everybody dealt with it in different ways, their abuse or abusive behavior in the childhood, in the environment, and whatever worked for them is what they used. And I just happened to be with a person that was emotionally shut down. So let's do a little exercise on, if you're in that kind of moment, or you have some of those moments in your life. Here's a little exercise that has kind of helped me to find myself again and come out of that emotional shutdown. So why don't we close our eyes? And first of all, I want to ask myself, what deeply affected me? I just got my shit stirred up, or my heart really touched or broken, and I'm really being affected by this. And I want to come out of it, but I don't really want to come out of it. It's one of those things where I don't have the gumption to come out of it right now. So the first thing I want to do is, so I can, live a happier life and live a healed and integrated life, is I ask myself, what is it? Why did that touch me so deeply? Why did that affect me? Why did I feel so shut down? All they said was blank. They just said this one little thing, and it probably wouldn't affect 100 other people, but it affected me. So I just kind of asked myself, what is it about this? It's because this made me feel blank. And if I can fill in that blank, then I can say, did I feel that same emotion when I was a young boy? Or can I imagine? That's kind of the solution to a lot of the things that we work on, is filling in the blank, going back to that earlier time and realizing that that was the source of the trigger. All right, so I've just been touched by this. I've been triggered by this, and it's really affecting my heart. And so the way to protect myself, I've shut myself down and kind of backed myself down. Okay, so now I'm protected. Now I'm safe. Now it's a good place to look at this. So I look at this, and I get more insight, and I become more aware. And as I become more aware, I gain some self-discovery. And because I gained some self-discovery, I realized that this person that just triggered me is a blessing. Thank you so much for triggering me, so I could go deeper into myself and I can get closer to healing and integrate my past. So that's one end of it. If you're also a person that has a hard time with feeling, go ahead and keep your eyes closed. I'd like you to think about your pinky finger on your left hand. Pinky finger on the left hand. Notice how you might get some tingly feeling, or some energy feeling, or just some noticing feeling that you have a pinky finger. That's a pretty good feeling. Notice how that energy kind of wants to extend out to the very tip of your finger, maybe. That's noticing, that's being aware. And we're using the physical body for this exercise because it's a little easy to notice that you have an extension of your body, a finger or a toe or something. Now think about your thumb on your right hand. Notice how it kind of tingles back at you. It kind of communicates back at you. It's always been there, but now it's kind of saying, yep, I'm here. Now go to your big toe on your left foot. Again, you might feel a little something right at that joint behind your front toe or your big toe, and then kind of go around the toe, the fingernail, the toenail. And just all you're doing is just noticing it. That's part of it. Now you're getting better and better at feeling. And that's what the emotions are about, is that something is created that is connected to the body. And if you can notice these different parts of your body, then you can notice open your eyes. Now you can notice different subtle things in your body connected with your emotions. So we just did an exercise that kind of more connected you with something that's already there, your toes and your fingers and stuff like that. And the next part of this exercise would be for you to just connect in with your heart. How does your heart feel? And that's how people get more connected with their emotions. Just one of many ways is to just realize to reconnect with the body, because that's kind of your communication with your emotions. It's how your body feels, where it feels in the body. Your body's always, it's an intelligent being, so it's always communicating with you. So a good way to reconnect with your emotions. And it's just practice. You'll do it whenever, whatever speed that you want, whatever feels comfortable to you. It's probably not really a safe thing for a lot of people to be turned off in their emotion and then all of a sudden be turned on. Sometimes it's called a Kundalini awakening or something, but could be amazing to feel totally alive. But then you still need to integrate all that and get back into the body again. So you may be making the decision subconsciously to go back into those emotions at the speed that you're ready for. But you'll also need to pull away from those things that drown out those emotions, that suppress those emotions, that like watching movies that aren't really good for your emotions, maybe stuff that is too violent and too dramatic. Start watching things or engaging in videos or conversation, things that open you up, that allow you to start feeling safe about feeling those positive emotions. And then later on, you can feel safe about all emotions. But start with those easy ones at first, and those start with recognizing the different parts of your body, and then you can start to feel things. And it starts us as a subtle thing, and you just practice it, and you just get better and better at it. And just remember, you're in charge of it, and you're going at the pace that you feel safe with. But another added thing to that is that be careful with communicating or allowing your own egoic mind to run the show. So that's what I mean by that, is that maybe you were traumatized or you didn't feel safe communicating, so you shut yourself down emotionally. And then your mind has a story about all that served you at one time, but now that you're 57 or something, it doesn't really match anymore, but you've held on to that identity of that story. So it may be time to kind of start to question that. No, I want to feel now. Before I die, I want to feel, I want to experience life again. So you start to heal yourself. You start to integrate what it was that caused that collapsing down of your emotional field. So there is some work to be done, but it all leads to a better and better life. So I think that's all I have to say. Bless you. Thank you. I love you, and see you next time.